From the headquarters of the Guild of Champions, this is the Chris Terrell Podcast, and I am your host, Chris Terrell. And welcome to another week of your weight loss quest. How did this last week go for you? What challenges did you encounter? What failures did you go through? And more importantly, what lesson did you get from that failure? Come on now, don't let a perfectly good failure go by without getting your reward in the form of a lesson. Now, if you're new here, I've lost 125 pounds myself. After an entire adulthood of chronic yo-yo dieting, up, down, again, before I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I made some permanent and meaningful and actual changes to my lifestyle, habits, and routines, to my community, my environment, and possibly, most importantly of all, my system of beliefs. And now I'm here each week to help you get the same results in your life. And lately, I've been taking a lot of listener questions. Questions from my Facebook group, which, if you're not a part of, I would love to invite you to come join. You can go to christerrellcoaching.com. There'll be a link to it there, or you can scroll down in your app. I believe you'll find some show notes with a link that'll take you directly to the Facebook group where you can apply to join. And there I go live every week. And I made a post in there last week asking for listener questions, and I answered a bunch of them. And this week, I'm going to answer some more. So I got my iPad in front of me. I've got that thread open. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the list, and I am going to respond to posts that have a lot of likes on them. And so let's, the first one that jumped out at me that I hadn't already addressed. This one comes from Carrie Ashby. She said, "When you are hard on yourself and think you are less than because of your weight, it is very hard to stay on a journey to be good to yourself and treat yourself well. How do you believe or convince yourself that you are good enough the way you are at your starting weight so that you can get to where you want to be?" When I read a comment like this, a question like this, I'm really reminded of myself in the beginning of my own journey. Because in the beginning, I didn't think highly of myself. I was always waiting for something to happen before I would allow myself to feel loved. And the thing is, every now and then, one of those things would happen, and I would have to give myself permission to accept that I'm good enough. And but of course, over time, I would slip back to what I did before, and I would stop being kind to myself in my mind. I've spent some time really pondering on that. Why do I keep going back to that behavior when on paper I know it's not helpful to not be kind and compassionate to myself in my head, and yet why do I keep doing it? And I think for me, the reason why I do it is because it works. Being a jerk to myself in my head can get me to make changes, but it has the unintentional byproduct of how it makes me feel on the inside. Somewhere along the line, I picked up this notion that I had to be hard on myself to get myself to do things. And maybe it's because others were hard on me. Maybe it's because I saw people be hard on others. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know that it much matters why. I just know that I was doing it. And I would look at thinner people and think that they deserve more things, to be honest. Like, just to be transparent and what a thought, past tense. I would think big people don't deserve to go to the gym, which is kind of crazy, right? Like, don't deserve to do the thing that would make them not be the way they are. Like, what kind of twisted logic is that? But I want to hone in on a part of your comment here. It's very hard to stay on a journey to be good to yourself and treat yourself well. It's very hard to stay on a journey to be good to yourself and treat yourself well. That reads, now it might be a mistype, I'm going to read it as I read it. That reads as a statement of fact. That reads as a statement of, it is hard. But is it? Is it actually hard? Or is it hard for you right now? It doesn't have to be hard, I can tell you that. Like, you can be on the journey and treat yourself well. Usually, you can find the way of how to treat yourself by just looking at how you treat those you love the most in your life. Now, again, some of y'all are assholes. I don't know who you are, but some of y'all are just assholes. And you're assholes to others, and you're also assholes to yourself. You need to stop being an asshole to everybody, okay? Some of you are that. But the majority of you, I'm sure, are actually not that. You're actually probably an amazingly kind, caring, and loving and warm individual. But that's only to others, not to yourself. Maybe to yourself, you're sort of a jerk, pushing yourself around, using your past and rubbing your nose in it. Say, see, I told you you'd never be good enough because you did this thing way back when. You remember that? Yeah, that's why you'll never be enough. Sometimes you hear that. You got this fear voice that shows up in your head and just starts telling you millions and millions and millions of lies. There's a song I love that talks about some of these concepts. It's a guy named rapper NF. I don't like rap. Nothing against the art form. It's just not my jam. But this dude's stuff is my jam. And he has a song called The Search. And I love it. But he uses this metaphor that we all have something deep inside and we hold it underwater hoping it would die, but it always survives and it comes up out of nowhere like an evil surprise and stands above you telling you millions of lies. I think is something along those lines. I'd have to look up the words. But I think that visual, that fear voice sometimes will creep into our head and start telling us all sorts of lies, using our past to as proof, so to speak, of why you won't be successful, even though it's not true. And, when it's your own voice in your own head, or maybe it's your parents, your dad's voice, or your sister's voice, or your brother's voice, or your third grade teacher's voice, or your religious leader's voice, right? Maybe it's that person's voice in your head. I don't know. But I've come to see that a part of what was contributing to my weight gain was the fact that I was refusing to let myself live in the here and the now. And I was constantly bringing my past with me and focusing on it and not letting it go, carrying around my vintage misery, this old baggage, that vintage 80s cloth fabric bag, with the buckles on the top, the gray ones. You might remember what I'm talking about, brown leather straps. I got a truckload of that stuff, and I've just been toting it around. So part of what answering your question, Carrie, is you got to start letting go of your baggage. You got to start letting it go. I don't know what baggage you're carrying around. To anybody listening, I don't know what baggage you got carrying around. I had a bunch that I was carrying around, and I had to let it go. I had to let it go to be successful with my weight loss, but not because it was going to help me lose weight, right? Like, you lose weight by being in a calorie deficit. Forgiving your parents is good, but not going to help you lose weight. But so why am I talking about it? Well, it's because you got to let go of all this stuff, because this stuff might have been contributing to your weight gain, or it certainly might be hindering your ability to be successful as you change. You've got to release the past into the past and let it just be what it was. And you can decide what you want to focus on with it. You can decide. But the reality is, Carrie, you're good enough. You're enough right now. I don't need to know you to know that. I just need to know that you're a person and you're enough. You deserve to look at yourself in the mirror and be grateful for you. You deserve to love yourself right now. Somewhere along the lines for many of us, we arrived at a conclusion that love must be earned. It's not just something you're granted, but it's a gift. And it's the gift you give yourself. The gift of I love and accept myself as I am, flaws and all, the good and the bad. I look to the side. When you look at yourself and you got all these sides of you that you want to cut out and pretend aren't there, you're literally rejecting yourself. I don't know about you, but if somebody's saying, I love you, but man, these other parts of you I really hate, I don't feel that loved from that person. I'm like, well, hot damn, you could have left that second bit off. Like, why'd you include the hate bit? But that's what I did. I would tell myself things I loved, and then I would make sure to lace it with, insults or whatabouts or how comes. On my journey, I realized I have to love myself today, right now. I used to watch The Biggest Loser on TV. Any of you ever watch that? I laugh at this visual sometimes. I would be watching Biggest Loser, and I was that person doing it while eating Doritos. Like, not that there's anything bad with Doritos. I just had the big bag of Doritos, not the individual portion bag. And it's not because I was only eating an individual portion. No, ma'am, no, sir. I was eating way more than an individual portion. Anyway, I'd watch this show, dreaming of one day me having lost all the weight. It's funny, I did it, just not in the way I thought I would, but I digress. I would watch that show, and one of my favorite, season after season after season, like for many years I watched it, and one of my favorite weeks was Makeover Week. It's the week where they take all the remaining contestants, they give them a new haircut, they get them to a professional stylist that gets them dressed up in some sharp-looking clothes made just for them, and of course the hairstylist and one other artists. Right? They're like, let's make you look good the way you are right now. Let's magnify all the beautiful things about you right now. They go look at their style. Let's magnify all the great things about you right now. And here's the thing that always stood out to me when I watched that. Most of them were still fat. Think about that. They were still fat. And I'd think this. And I'm like, why can't I feel that good about myself? So how come a lot of them were fatter than me on Makeover Week? So why? Why do they get to love what they see? Why do they stand in the mirror proud? Why? Why do they do it and I don't? The reason why is because I was going up year over year and this person was going down. 70 degrees heated feels very different than 70 degrees cooled. If you don't know that, just pay attention. Set your thermostat now and then set it to the same temperature in the summer. See how it feels. You'll notice it feels different. And when you are losing weight, when you hit 260 pounds, that feels very different when you hit it on your way down versus when you hit it on your way up. So two people could each weigh 260 pounds, be exact same height and age, and even carry their weight in the exact same way. One of them could look in the mirror and absolutely love everything they see, and the other could hate everything they see. What makes it different? What makes it different? I think that is the important part. You will have to choose to love yourself, to accept yourself. In the beginning of my journey, I was wrestling with this exact concept right here, this exact one. That's why this question really jumped out at me, because it's near and dear to my heart, and it's my podcast, so I get to pick. I'm picking the one that I really resonate with, and this one really resonates with me, because I remember being 22, 23. There's this picture of me. I'll have to see if I can dig it up. I haven't seen it in years. It's me in a buddy's house. I'm on my cell phone. Their friend just took a photo of me. Now, this would have been 2000, what would that be? 6, 7, something like that. Smartphones weren't all over the place, and the few smartphones there were, they didn't have cameras, and if they did, they were shitty cameras, so most of us had point and shoots. So it's not like I have a whole heck of a ton of pictures of me from then, because I avoided the cameras as it was, and when someone pulled it out, it was a camera, so I could tell it was a camera, so I got away from it, or I put myself in the back, or whatever. But there's this photo taken of me, and I looked at it, and I'm thinking, man, I wish I could be that small again. This is when I'm 290 pounds, right? Man, I wish I could be that small again. I had someone want to say to me, I wish I was as fat as I used to think I was. But I looked at that photo, and I'm thinking, here I am, 290 pounds, wishing I was in that body. And I hated how I looked then. I hated it. I hated how I looked. I thought I was fat, and I was on Weight Watchers, just thinking, what's wrong with me? How come everybody else can be thin, but I can't? If I just eat the foods I want, I'm going to get fat. I got to eat all this stupid food that Weight Watchers says I can eat. I can't eat the things I want. And I'm trying to lose weight. How come I can't stick to this? Because I didn't know about emotional eating. I didn't understand my need to go get a triple cheeseburger from Wendy's at 10:30 at night every time I left a particular relationship after their home to go home for the night. I didn't understand that I was emotionally eating when I did that. I had already had dinner. That's a big-ass burger. And I'd usually get the fries. I didn't know it was emotional eating. I didn't know. Thought I was just hungry, so I ate. So I'm looking at myself at, what was I, 34, 5? I got to say, I'm doing this on the spot, so I'm not great with the math in my head. But 34, 35, and starting my journey, 2019. It was 2019. How about that? And I'm just wishing I could be back in that body that when I was in that body, I hated. And I thought was fat. And that's when it clicked. It's just a matter of perspective. It's just a choice. Here I am, 290 pounds. If somebody was in my 290 pound body and they had started at 400 pounds, they would be happy to be in my body. They had just lost 110 pounds. And I got to think, well, you know what? I'm just going to act like I've already lost 100 pounds. I'm just going to choose to treat myself like that. And I did. And I lost 125 pounds and I've kept it off. And that's my answer. All right. Thank you, Carrie, for asking that wonderful question. Thank you. All right. So I'm scrolling down here through the comments. And what I'm doing is I'm looking to see which ones get the most likes. So if you come into this Facebook page and you give some a like, here we go. All right. Oh, this is a fun one from Jane Elizabeth. Hi, Jane. How do you sustain motivation as a turtle? So if you don't know what she's talking about here, in the guild, I have a phrase, embrace the turtle. I mean, I guess now it's a phrase here. So it's a phrase everywhere. It's a phrase I like to say. Embrace the turtle. All right. Embrace the turtle. Go slow. We all know the metaphor. You get it. The tortoise is faster than the hare. Why? Because the hare is all over the place. Y'all know it, except a lot of y'all are literally like, I need to embrace the turtle as you're running as fast as possible, running on the brink of burnout. It's like, really? Really? Are you sure? Look, how do you sustain motivation as a turtle? That's a big question, but let me give you some pointers. First pointer. Wrap your head around the fact that this journey is going to take double or triple as long as you think it will. Whatever you think, it's just going to take longer. Just accept that. And just accept that, honestly, needing to know how long it's going to be is irrelevant. Just begin now to wrap your mind around that. This is not happening fast. And you're going to have these conclusions and epiphanies in the first 6 months of your journey that you're going to be like, this is it. I have learned some shit. And 6 months later, you're going to look back at some of that stuff and be like, okay, I was an idiot. That was not right. Nope, that wasn't even right at all. So be careful what you get too committed about, because you're going to be learning a lot as you go on this journey. But when you wrap your head around the fact how long this is going to take, it allows you to just breathe and realize, hey, I didn't lose weight that week. That's okay. Did I gain weight? No. All right. Do I want to lose weight? Yeah. You can do anything about it to make it happen faster this week? No. Well, then just be cool with it. Or are you going to do something? Yeah, I think I'd like to try something. Great. Let's try it. As long as we don't gain weight, we don't lose. We don't lose as long as we don't go up week after week after week. Look, come on. Stop. Y'all, stop being silly. You know the scale fluctuates. You know that. Stop. You're not the special one. It fluctuates for you too. 5 pounds. I live in a 5-pound window. My body will fluctuate regularly between 5 pounds and I change nothing. I like nothing. I'll eat the exact same thing. I've tested it where I will eat the exact same menu Sunday through Saturday, 2 weeks in a row. And my scale is all over the damn place over those 2 weeks. I mean, so anyway, let me get off that. Come back to the thread here. How do you sustain motivation as a turtle? Next pointer I'd give you is only change 1 or 2 things at a time. And don't move forward until you feel like you've gotten a little bit of bite to it. Like it's just taken just a little bit. Then you can move on. If you don't have to get it perfect, right? Like I give people, when you come join the guild, I challenge you to work on the 10 habits. One of the habits is eat when you're hungry, stop when you've had enough. All right, great. You're not mastering that for 4 years. Don't wait to do the other stuff, right? Just start with that one. And when you feel like after it's been a few weeks, maybe a month or two of like, okay, I'm starting to understand what this means. Like you've put all your mental energy at it. Now just see let me see if I can throw this on some habit, throw this on some autopilot, and let me pick up another habit. Maybe I'm going to work on having snacks at snack time and treats at treat time, right? I'll start working on that. Oh, okay, great. Right? You bounce to the thing that you're going to bounce to, but don't try to put all 10 plates in the air at once. Start spinning one plate and then go add the second and give the other one a nudge. Then go add the third plate and then go the other two a nudge. And then they all fall down and you start over again. Look, it's like spinning plates. That's what this is like, right? You'll enjoy the periods where all 10 plates are spinning, but that won't go on indefinitely. Something will happen, a mistake will happen, or you'll just get tired, or the show will end because, it'll be over. So the way you sustain it is go slow. Go slow. And the last tip I'll give you, focus on making lifestyle changes before you're focusing on losing weight. If you focus on losing weight before you focus on making lifestyle changes, you're going to get stuck in a cycle because you're probably hoping that losing some weight will lead to you then feeling motivated to change your life. I can tell you that's probably not going to work. You can try it. Maybe you're the one it'll work for, but a lot of people it doesn't work for. If you focus first on changing your lifestyle and going, what sort of lifestyle do I need to adopt that would lead to weight loss? Like, yes, you're doing it for the purposes of losing weight, but you're focusing on the lifestyle part. You're driving the lifestyle changes first, which means releasing the old lifestyle as you're installing the new one. It doesn't mean add a second one on top of the old one. There's some things you do that got to go away. So, yeah, big question, Jane. Great question. And let's see. Let's find one more question to end. All right, here we go. Dimitri Evangelou, I believe I said that right. How do you set a goal weight? Not sure if mine is too low using the BMI scale. Well, let's talk for a moment about BMI. BMI is excellent for assessing a population. Excellent at assessing a population. BMI is not so great for assessing an individual. There's a lot of inherent flaws. But it's not what a lot of people think. BMI, if it does anything, it has a tendency to underdiagnose excessive fat on a human's body. Like BMI actually underdiagnoses that. Because BMI doesn't take into account muscle mass. It is just your height and your weight. Of course, it disregards, slight differences and variances from one human to the next, sure, but the variances aren't that big. I mean, not 200 pounds, not 100 pounds variance, maybe 20, 30 pounds, sure. And then you have muscle mass. So I right now am borderline overweight, and this is not meant, I have very visible muscles, right? My muscles are very visible. I have a 4 or 6 pack, depending on the day. And I'm technically about to be overweight. Why? Because of my muscle mass. That's why. I don't have that much fat on my body. And I haven't for a while. And so this is where BMI does miss. Like I'm an example of somebody where BMI is not quite right. But technically I'm still in the average range. I'm just at the very tippy top of it. What often happens though is somebody will show up as in the normal range, but their muscle mass is way too low. And they're what's called skinny fat. So the better metric to look at is something called a height to waist ratio. So it's you measure around your waist, about 2 inches above your belly button or right below your lowest rib, and you relate that to your height. You're looking for about anything under between a 0.4 and 0.49, I believe is the number, is where you want to land. You want to land between a 0.4 and a 0.49, so just shy of 50%. And because that right there, the only fat is what makes that bigger. Muscles isn't going to make your midsection bigger. Big muscles in your legs make your legs bigger, and they'll just keep getting bigger. Big muscles in your arms make your arms bigger. Bigger neck muscles, shoulder muscles. Lats, the ones on your back, make your chest bigger. But your stomach, you're right at, again, about 2 inches above your belly button. If that gets smaller, that's because of fat loss. Like almost always. Because of fat loss. Yes, I know there could be food and stuff in there. We're averaging that out, normalizing that, assuming you didn't just eat a gargantuan meal. And you have to look for fat on the outside and on the inside. So subcutaneous fat and visceral fat. And the visceral stuff, the stuff that's inside your organs, that stuff is dangerous. That stuff can cause some real health complications. And you could be skinny and have a lot of that stuff. So when determining your goal weight, I don't know that I could tell you that there's an exact goal weight for you. I can tell you there is a goal height to waist ratio range that you should seek to land within, 0.49 to 0.4. That's where you want to be. What will your weight be? I don't know. Depends on who you are. Depends on your body composition makeup. So, but you can figure that out as you get closer. So for many individuals, what I would tell you is go online to a reddit.com and look for a subreddit called Progress Pics. In there, you can filter by gender and height. I would just go look at progress pictures of people that are your gender and your height, preferably even your own age, if you can find them within 5 or so years. And just go look at people. I remember on my journey thinking I'd want to be around the 200, 220 range. And I saw a picture of a guy that was my height on a rower machine, and he looked skinny. And I was like, wow, that is drastically skinny. What does he weigh? And look at the photo, 180 pounds. I was like, 180? Wait, I got to get to 180 pounds to look like that? I thought I'd look like that when I was 200 pounds. No, I was still fat when I was, not fat, like I had plenty of fat on me at 200 pounds. I was soft. And I was looking at that, it's like, oh, I didn't realize I was going to have to lose that much to get to that level, to look like that. I went to 165, so I overshot it. It really wasn't too bad once you got down there. But, because I was already in the headspace. But the goal weight of 165, I don't know that I just don't see a way I would have picked it. I didn't pick it, and I'm not entirely, like, if I could look back, I don't think I ever would have picked that number. It would have just seemed too unbelievable to me in the beginning of the journey. So I just started with down. I want to be in 32-inch pants, right? I was, what was I, 44, 46-inch pants? It depended on who made it. But God, man, I do not miss pants shopping. I am traumatized for shopping for pants. I'm going in a rabbit hole here. I still am traumatized about pants shopping. I don't like going pants shopping still. I am terrified every time I'm going to go in and I'm not going to find something I like that fits. I mostly wear sweats. I have not bought a pair of jeans in years because jean shopping for me was always just a demoralizing experience, going to store after store after store and either A, not finding anything that fits, that looks okay, that's even reasonably comfortable, or B, if I did, it was so incredibly expensive. Oh, don't miss that. Don't miss that one bit. But it's interesting. It's just now clicking. I am still not over that. It has been a long time. I'm going to need to get over that. I'm going to need to go buy a pair of pants. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Don't set a goal weight in the beginning. Set a goal size. Pick a size you'd want to be, because you're not going to know what weight you will be in that size. So look at your height. Do you want to be a small or a medium or a large? Pick those three. I don't think you should pick it. If you're asking me, in my opinion, don't pick a size that lands you in extra large. Honestly, if you're going to go into weight loss mode, overshoot large and get to medium. At least get to medium and see what you think. Just see what you think, right? A medium t-shirt. Do you like how you look in a medium t-shirt? If you get there and you're like, this is great, I'm going to stay here, then stay there. If you get there and you think, this is great, but I want to be thinner. I think I want to get to a small. Great, keep going, get to a small. Or if you get there and you think, no, I don't like it, I want to be larger. I want to be a large. Awesome, go gain weight. Like, it's not like you're stuck there. You can change your mind. My whole advice is like overshoot if you're thinking of landing on a higher end. Like if you're thinking you're going to stop when you're a large, you're not overshooting. All right. You are, all right, I'm just going to say it. In my personal opinion, if you're going to stop at a large, I think you're settling. I think you're there. I'm saying it. I think you're settling because you could be a medium, and a medium is reasonable. Small, I get, right? Small is not for everybody. Small has a lifestyle that comes with it. Medium is not too bad. Medium ain't too bad. Now, again, if you're a big person, some of y'all are big, like you're tall, and I'm not talking about you, a trim size, whatever that is, for your height, go get into it. See what you think. Because in my head, I'm thinking, if I'm going to go through all the trouble of getting my brain tuned to losing weight, and it is so much work to get my brain tuned into that frequency and then to leave it there, I don't want to dial out of that frequency until I'm done, because I don't want to have to get back into it again. And the last 20 pounds suck. Trust me, it is going to be so much easier if you have a 100-pound running start into it. Because when you just try to jumpstart it no, it's tough. It's tough. I don't like it. All right, I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you so much for those of you that ask questions in the Facebook group. If you're not in the Facebook group, I'd love to have you in there. As I said in the beginning, you can go to ChrisTerrellCoaching.com. You will find a link to it, or you can look in your show notes. There'll be a link to the Facebook group there. See you next week. Talk to you later.